Welcome to This Is My Architecture. I'm Aarti from AWS, and joining me in New York today is Kevin from Under Armour. Kevin, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So Kevin, tell us, what do you do for Under Armour?
I'm part of the site reliability engineering team for e-commerce.
Site reliability, the only thing that strikes me is, do you manage large-scale events?
Yes, whether it's a new product launch or for Black Friday or Cyber Monday, those major events, we ensure that we have high availability during those events.
That's one thing that we talk to our customers a lot, how to architect for a highly available solution, especially for like new product launches or like Black Friday or Cyber Monday events. So what are we going to be talking about today? I see Route 53, I see a bunch of ALBs here and EC2. Is this a web application or something different?
Yeah, this is our primary e-commerce platform. So it serves omni-channel requests, so whether they're coming in from both outside devices or our retail in-store devices. This is basically the architecture that powers all of our e-commerce.
Okay. Was this launched for a specific event, or has this been on AWS for a while now? So
in AWS, we actually moved from an on-premises solution to AWS mainly for the scalability and the flexibility that that provides. Okay. And for a specific product launch? No, just generally, every couple of years, we look to re-architect with the latest innovations. So we moved to microservices about 3 years ago. Okay. And we decided to go ahead and leverage AWS with Kubernetes. Okay. So why don't you walk us through this workflow? So I'm assuming Route 53 is used for DNS, and then request comes into your web application. And I see two different ALBs here. Why don't you walk us through it? Sure. Absolutely. So Route 53 sits out, we actually have Akamai out. And so a request will come into Route 53 from a device. And the reason that we use Route 53 is it gives us the ability to just use a single DNS entry. And so we have two separate clusters. So if we consider this one is what we'll call red, and this one is called black. And they are identical mirror images. And the reason for that is it basically gives us the ability that if we ever had any disruption in a single AZ, we can instantly fail over. So these clusters actually span multiple AZs. So this will span one cluster of 3 AZs. And then this one will do an isolated other group of 3 AZs. And it's an active-passive model. So we will always send traffic over to our primary, what we'll call a red cluster. But in the event of any sort of disruption, we can instantly switch over traffic over to the black cluster.
And this is within a single region, I assume?
Exactly. This is within a single region.
And it's really impressive that you're utilizing all 6 availability zones in the region and making it highly available. How is this deployment done? How do you guys spin up these red and black clusters?
So we use Spinnaker. And Spinnaker allows us to deploy to multiple clusters in parallel as needed. And so what's nice about Spinnaker is we also mirror the exact same sort of architecture at just a smaller scale for our development environments. So we have consistency, whether we're going to production or for any sort of testing clusters with one tool.
Okay. So when request comes in, I'm assuming, as you mentioned, it's active and passive environment here.
It's active-passive, right.
So Route 53 does failover-based routing.
It does failover-based routing, and the way that we implemented it, we actually use a config map in Kubernetes. So we can instantly, just by changing or updating the config map, basically direct traffic as necessary to red or black.
Okay. So why did you choose running Kubernetes on EC2?
So we had run Kubernetes actually on premises, but being on EC2, Kubernetes, we had a lot more flexibility. One of the challenges with running it on premises was being able to keep it up to date. Kubernetes is evolving so rapidly, whereas on EC2 and having this architecture, we could instantly just scale down or tear down the clusters and replace them with new updates as necessary.
Okay. The entire red and black cluster here, in terms of scaling, are these ALBs pre-warmed already, or do they scale on the go?
So they are pre-warmed. So we went through an IEM exercise, infrastructure event management, with our account team. And so we have roughly 75 nodes in each cluster. And during non-peak events, we can generally scale down and just have a warm pilot. But when we know that we're doing a major product launch or where we absolutely need to keep the site up, we have everything scaled out fully, so we can do an instant failover.
Okay. And having these two clusters, I'm assuming during like the non-peak period, what else do you guys use the black cluster for, like patching or doing other updates?
Absolutely. So a good example of that was Spectre or Meltdown. So having the two clusters, we can basically go ahead and patch and then do all kinds of testing on the isolated cluster, then fail over, knowing that if anything were to occur, we can instantly fail back. So we're able to just replace what's necessary with our patching structure with this architecture.
I also see one RDS instance here. So is this MySQL, SQL Server, and how does this connect into your red and black clusters?
It's SQL Server on RDS, and it's a multi-AZ setup. So both clusters will just talk to the same RDS instance as needed.
Okay. One last question. For the holiday season that you had, what was like the peak user requests per minute that you guys received?
Sure, that's actually a great question, because what we saw was we had anticipated that we would see about 120,000 requests per minute. Our ability to set up these clusters and orchestrate them through Spinnaker, we could set up a test cluster, and we actually did more than 200,000 requests in our testing. So it gave us a lot of confidence going into
holiday. So you were well prepared for the holiday season with the testing. Any future enhancements that you're thinking with this architecture for the upcoming holiday season?
Yeah, private link is very interesting for us, because as we look to connect with our athletes, one of the things that we do with our architecture is we actually will take insights from our connected fitness properties. So that's MyFitness or MyFitnessPal. We can actually take workout data, enrich the data that we're using for how we're targeting better products to our athletes.
Awesome. Kevin, thank you for sharing this architecture. Really interesting on how you guys do the red and black deployments, and also the scale of testing that you guys have gone through with it. And thank you for joining me today. And thank you for watching. This is my architecture.